Hello everyone. Today we are starting our lecture on Java programming. In this lecture we will see the contents which is covered in this subject. We will see what we will learn in this subject and we will give the brief introduction about the Java programming. In this subject, first unit we will see that is Introduction to Java. In this unit we will see the basic concepts regarding Java language. If we aware about the programming language, we can consider Java as a programming language. It is a robust and secure programming language. Using this language, we can create the desktop application as well as web application also. And as Java is a secure language, so whatever application we are creating using the Java language, that application will also be secure. If we say about the background of Java, then the Java was developed by Sun Microsystem and previously its name was Oak and then it was renamed as Java language. After that, we can talk about the Java virtual machine. That is a one type of compiler that is used for Java language. As we know that whatever program we are writing in computer system, that is compiled and executed. For example, we can consider the example of C or C++ language. Whatever we are writing the code, that will be compiled and converted into a machine language, right? And for Java there is a particular compiler whose name is Java Virtual Machine. It is responsible for compiling and executing Java programs, and also it is responsible for garbage collection also. Then there is a term bytecode. Bytecode is a unreadable format. Whenever we are compiling the Java code, that is converted into the bytecode. The Java file is converted into a class file. So this code is known as bytecode. Java is secure and portable just because of this feature, because after the compiling it is converted into a bytecode. Then there is a point, that is a Java environment setup. Before running the programs in our system, we have to set environment according to Java program. According to that, we have to set the environment variable also. But before that, we have to make sure that our system is supported Java programs or not. For that, we have to install some basic software for setting the environment. Those are JDK and JRE. JDK means Java Development Kit and JRE means Java Runtime Environment. These two softwares are available freely on Oracle site. So we have to download these softwares and run this, and after that according to this we have to set the path into environment variables. After setting this, we can run the Java program. So this is must for running the Java code in our system. Then there is a point which is a Java program structure. Before writing or learning any programming language, first we have to understand the programming structure of the particular language. So we will also learn the Java program structure. In that we will see the various components which can be included into a Java program structure. If you remember, in C language, starting of the program you are writing the header files, right? Then you are writing the macros, which is not a compulsory part, right? And then you are writing the definitions of functions, and then you are writing the main function, and at the end you can define the function which you have declared before the main function, right? So this is the program structure. First you are writing the header file, right? Then you are writing the macros, then you are writing the declaration of functions or global variable declaration, then you are writing the main function, and at the end you are defining the functions, right? So this is the basic structure. The same structure we can follow for the Java programming structure, but the structure will be little bit different in this Java program, because C language is a top-down approach, and whereas a Java language is a bottom-up approach. So the structure will be different. And one more important difference is that Java is an object oriented language. Then we will see that various differences between process oriented language and object oriented programming concept. As we know that C language is a procedure oriented, which is a function oriented, in which we are focusing on the functions. We are dividing our program into the functions. And the Java is a object oriented programming language, because in Java we are not dividing our program into a functions, but we are dividing the real world into objects, right? Then we are defining the function and variables according to that object. So this is the main difference between procedure oriented and object oriented programming concept. In our lectures we will see in detail, so it will be clear for you. Then in this unit, we will see the basics concepts of OOP. OOP means Object Oriented Programming. These concepts are very important topics which can be included in further object oriented programming language also. So first is abstraction, right? Abstraction means you are abstracting something, you are sorting out something. Abstraction means not showing the detailed description, only the brief description, right? So this phenomenon is known as the abstraction. Then we talk about the inheritance. Inheritance is a very well-known feature of the object-oriented procedure, in which one class inherits the property of another class, right? For example, I can say a child inherits some features from the parents. In inheritance, there are various features which is having the class, including that it will also inherit some features from the parent class. That thing we can see in our real world also. There are lots of example in our real world that can be used for explaining inheritance. Then there is a topic of encapsulation. Encapsulation means to encapsulate. If you take the example of medicine, in medicine you can see that in capsule the chemical or a medicine powder is encapsulated into a capsule, so that we can protect the medicine from the outside environment. That's why we are encapsulating that medicine. And same thing is in if we talk about the classes. Inside the classes, variables and methods are encapsulated into a one unit that is known as a class. So these methods and variables are protected inside that class. Though this mechanism is known as encapsulation. Then there is a topic that is classes. We are dividing the data according to characteristics of the real world. And data in same class have the same characteristics. So this class phenomenon is used in Java programming. We are creating various classes and defining the variables and methods into that classes. Then there is a term subclasses. Whenever we are inheriting one class from the parent class, that the class is known as subclass. Which class inheriting from the parent class, that class is a subclass. Means in, if we say the parent and child, then child is a subclass. And if we talk about the parent, and this parent class is known as superclass. And there is a term polymorphism. Polymorphism is a Greek word. If you divide this term, that means poly and morphon. Poly means more than one, morphon means more than forms, right? If any one thing or any one method is taking more than one form, you can say that term is polymorphism. If I take example of the draw method, right? Whenever you want to draw any shape, it is either square or rectangle, or you can say the triangle or circle, right? These all are under category of the shape. But if you think about the draw method of these objects, that will be differ. So we can say there is a method whose name is draw, right? And the name is the same for all the methods we want to draw, right? But the how to draw, that will be differed for all the shapes. So this example we can consider for the polymorphism. These concepts are we will implement in Java programming also. These are the some basic example which I have given, but we will implement this also in the terms of classes and objects. Then in first unit we will start with the Java program. We will create a program which will output the hello world. Then according to that program we will setting our environment variables and compile this program, interpret this program and run this program. And we will also solve some common errors which will be found in our program. So from here we will start our implementation. We will start our implementation with a program which will print the hello world. So this was the first unit, and the next unit we will learn the building blocks of the programming language, that will cover the basic data types. We know that variables are having the data types. That data types can be integer types, floating point types, character types, boolean types, etc. These data types are also same as the C language or C++ language, but the difference will be in the size. And in Java language there will be more data types which we will see whenever this unit will. So from here we will start our implementation. We will create the first program printing the hello world using the Java language. After this we will implement more programs using Java language. After this we will start the second unit, that is building blocks of the language. In this, first we will see the various primitive data types, and this data types means the type of the variable, means the which value we can store into the variable. So these types can be integer, floating points, characters, boolean, etc. As we know that C and C++ language have same data types, but the difference will be in the terms of size. So the concept will be same, but the size of these data types will be differ. And then we will see the user defined data type. In user defined data type we will see the array, interface and class, which are the user defined data type which will be created according to our convenience. So these are the primitive and user defined data type. Then we will see the concepts identifier and literals. Identifier means the names which we are given the variable. For example, I am giving the variable ID. So ID is the identifier. For example, I am creating another variable whose name is password. So the password is known as the identifier. It means whatever names we are giving to the variable, that is known as identifier. We will see some rules about this identifiers. Then we will see the literals. Literals means the any values, either integer value, floating value, character value, string value, that can be assigned to a identifier, means variable. So these are the literals. We will see the various types of literals also. Then we will see how to declare constant and variables in the Java program. We will see this as the examples also. Then we will also see the type conversion and casting. Type conversion means sometimes we need to convert the one data type to another data type because of the data compression. It means, for example, we need to convert the integer to float or float to integer. Whenever we want to convert integer to float, it is a automatic casting. But whenever we want to convert float to integer, then it is a explicit casting which we have to apply. So this is the type conversion and casting. We will also implement the example for this. Then the topic will become, that is a scope of variable and default values of the variables, right? Scope of the variable means the scope in which the variable defined. It means the variable will be affected according to that scope, means the curly brackets are used for the scope. Inside that scope or the block, the variable will affect it. And further we will see the default values of the variable according to data type. It means if you are not assigning the any value to the variables, the what default value it can take. Then the wrapper classes. There is a term wrapper classes that convert the non-primitive type to primitive type and primitive to non-primitive. For example, we are using the primitive types integer, float, etc. If we want to convert this data type into an object type, right, then we are using the wrapper classes, where there are various wrapper classes which are integer, float, double. These are the wrapper classes according to the data types. Then we will see, we can also give the comments in the Java language. We will see the syntax for the same. And there is a term which is a very important term in Java language, that is garbage collection. Garbage collection means whatever data is unnecessary, that is sent to the garbage collection. In Java language there is a automatic garbage collection. We need not to call the destructor for the destructing the values, and this is handled by JVM, means a compiler of Java. Then there is a term arrays of primitive data types. We can also create the arrays of the primitive data types, means we can create the array of integer, array of float, etc. Array means collection of variables of same data type. We can create this array in Java language also, but the syntax will be slightly different than other language. Then in this unit we will also learn the various types of arrays. There are types of array: singular array, multidimensional array, and one more type is there, that is variable length array. So all these type we will see with the examples. And then we will see the various string operations using string and string buffer class. These two classes are used for creating strings and manipulating strings. These two classes are mainly used in Java language. We will see the various differences between string and string buffer class. Then there it comes the operators. We can use the various operators with the variables. These all operators are also same as the C language, but some additional operator will be there also. There are the operators arithmetic, bitwise, rational, logical, assignment, conditional, ternary, increment and decrement. And then we will see the various mathematical functions which can be applied on the variables, and the mathematical functions are available in math class, that will be also explained using the example. Then in building blocks there is a term decision and control statement. Decision and control statement means selection statement, loops and jump statement. In selection statement we will see the syntax and example of simple if else and switch statement. These three statements are used for selection statement. For example, we want to write the particular code, or we want to display the particular code according to condition. Then we are using these selection statements. And then it comes for up to loops. Loops means we are repeating the code up to many conditions. For that we are using the various loops which are while, do while or for loop. These are the loops which we can use. Then there is a jump statement. Jump statement means we are redirecting from one place to another place in a single code. For that the various statements are there which are break, continue, return and exit. These statement redirect us from one place to another place into a same code. After this, we will move to the third unit, which is a very important unit, which is the object oriented programming concepts, which we have also defined in first unit also, but in this we will implement these concepts also. In this, we will start with the classes. We will learn how to create the classes, how to define variable and methods into a classes, and how to create the object of that class. And for further, we will see the some accessing rules for accessing this variable and methods of these classes. Then with this we will see the various keywords in Java programming language, this, static and final. These keywords are used in the Java programming language with the various purposes. For example, this refers to the current object, right? And that is also used for differentiating class parameter and method parameter. We will see this with example also. Then there is a keyword static. Static means that is a variable or a method that is shared between all the objects, that is known as a static. Then there is a term method overloading. Method overloading means the polymorphism, that is a compile time polymorphism, means the methods are having the same name but there will be different parameters. Then there is a term final. Final keyword can be used with the variable, method and class. If we use the final keyword with the variable, it is declared as a constant. If we use the final keyword with the method, it is a method final which cannot be overridden. Then if you use the final keyword with the class, you cannot extend that class, means you cannot use that class in inheritance. Then there is a term constructor. We can also create the constructor in Java language. We use this constructor for initializing parameters or many initialization process. There are various types of constructors where those will be included in example also. Then there is a more unit for inheritance, packages and interfaces. In this we will learn the what is inheritance and basic types of inheritance. And the types of inheritance are single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical and hybrid. Java program does not support the multiple inheritance, but there are some ways by which we can implement the multiple inheritance. In whenever we are talking about the inheritance, there is a term whose name is method overriding. Method overriding means we are defining the same method in subclass which is already available in superclass. So this mechanism is known as method overriding. Then we will learn how to inherit from one class to another class, how we can derive from the superclass. And then there is a term in inheritance, that is dynamic method dispatch and object class. Object class is a superclass of all the classes in Java class. All the classes comes under the object class. After this we will see how we can create the package, how we can import the package or some class hiding rules in the package. Package means a collection of classes or interfaces, that is known as the packages in terms of Java language. Then there is a term interface. Interface means nothing, that is a type of class in which variables are final, means constant, and the methods are having no body, means we are not defining the method, we are just declaring this methods. So this term is known as interfaces. We can extend the interface by one interface, and also we can also use the multiple inheritance using interface. As we know that I have already told you that we cannot implement multiple inheritance in Java programming language, but using interface there is a way to implement the multiple inheritance. We will see this concept which is more important in Java programming language. Then there is a term abstract class and final class. Both are different types of classes. Abstract class means the class which you have to compulsory extend, means you have to derive a subclass from the abstract class, and the final class is a final class which cannot be extended, or we cannot derive any class from the final class. So this is the main difference between the abstract class and final class. We will again see the examples for this. Then the another unit is exception handling and multi-threaded programming. As we know that exception handling means exception is a runtime error which can come whenever we are running the program. It will occur during the execution of the program. So we have to handle this exception using the mechanism which is known as exception handling. For this we will see the various types of error and how can handle this exception. For that we have the mechanism of try catch statement. We will further see with the multiple catch blocks, and there are two keywords, throw and throws, right? Throw keyword is used whenever we want to throw our own exception, and throws keyword is used with the method or class which throw the exception explicitly. Then we will see the finally close which can be used with the try catch block, and further we will see the uses of exceptions, and further we will learn how we can define our own exception and how to throw this user defined exceptions. Then we will see the multi-threaded programming. Java supports multi-threading programming. Thread means a part of process. Whenever we are dividing the process into a threads, it will be easy to handle. Whenever we are considering the multi-threading programming, there might be some issues which we have to handle for this multi-threading programming. Java supports this multi-threading programming. For that we will learn how to create thread in Java, right? We can create the thread in Java using the thread class or runnable interface. There are two ways of creating thread which we will see with the example. Then we will see the life cycle of the thread, means according to the life, what are the phases from which the thread is passes through. Then we will see the various thread priorities and the important concept which is thread synchronization, which is must in multi-threading programming. And at the last we will see the how we can handle the exception in threads. And at last we will see the file handling, means how we can handle the files in Java programming. For that we will see the various stream classes, and for that we will see the class hierarchy and various useful IO classes using which we can read or write any file. Then we will see one program how to create the text file, how we can read that file, and how we can write into that text file. We will see the program for these operations. So in Java program we will start with the introduction of the Java program. And in introduction of Java program we will see the basic concepts of Java programming language, and then in next unit, which is building blocks of the language, in which we will learn how to create the programs using Java language and what syntax should be followed for the data types, variables, function, etc. And from the third unit we will start the object oriented programming concept, using which we can create the classes and object in Java programming language. And we will see also various concepts which is used for creating Java programs using the object and classes. And there is a unit for inheritance, packages and interfaces. And after this unit, there is a unit of exception handling and multi-threading programming, which is used for handle the exception and multi-threading programming. And at last we will see how to create and manipulate the file in Java programming. We will learn the theory concepts, and as well as we will see the example for each of the concepts in Java programming. Thank you.